his death and resurrection, everything stopped when he died, and then everything started new when he was risen from the dead. You know, the dividing line of all of time is not when Jesus comes back. I know in a glorious manifested way it seems that way, like, wow, everything changes. Jesus just broke through the clouds and returned for the church. But that is not how faith should see it. Faith understands that, oh my gosh, it was the day I got born again. For me, absolutely everything before stopped, and now everything's new. When Jesus died at the cross, he created all things stand by him all things consist. That's in the book of Colossians chapter 1. So when he died, everything died with him, and when he rose again, everything started new again. Once at the end of the ages he came. It's given unto men once to die, and then the judgment. In Christ, that's already happened for you. Yes, you're still going to have a judgment day in the future where you stand before the judgment seat of Christ to receive the things you've done in your body, whether good or bad. But, and granted, and you have to stay faithful between the day you were born again and then the day you go to heaven, or the day Jesus comes back. But you've already in effect had your judgment day in Christ. So what he's talking about here in Peter is go ahead by faith and go through that judgment that Jesus has already paid for you. So in other words, as you're believing every promise, as you are walking righteous, as you're believing everything Jesus says you can have, there's a lot that's come against you. And as you make your stand through that, believing the promises, you are going to suffer. You're going to suffer through everything in you and everything that's coming against you that's trying to make you believe you don't have what the Word says you have. But as you stand in faith, suffering with Him, you'll see He alone suffered and died, and then you'll receive that grace that His suffering and death and resurrection provided, and you'll walk in that glory right then and there. That's why He says that the judgment must begin at the house of God. It begins at you and I when we choose to associate with Jesus and suffer with Him, to see that He alone suffered and died, and then we receive the grace. But not only us, then those around us, through us, receive the grace, because judgment has begun at us. So therefore, us coming on the other side of judgment, in the glory, in the grace, then others see that grace, and then they get born again. That's why he says, in verse 18, where shall the ungodly and sinner appear?